Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Women's Advanced Bible Study night, Thursday night, the 9th of September 15, 2022. We'll be dealing with, for our Bible reading and breakdown, we're still in 1 Kings. We'll be reading from chapters 15 and 16. I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. There's a lot of information that is given, and the videos will connect dots for you and bring you into the truth of the scriptures. If you like what you are hearing and receiving from the channel, I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening. Welcome to our Israelite Women's Advanced Bible Study. We'll go into our moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We'll do a little women's health, and then we'll do current events. Some need to know information, then we'll do a little Q&A. We'll go into our Bible reading in our 1 Kings. Okay? So this moment of silence is for Lord of Hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in the land of our captives. Oh Lord, we pray unto the Lord our God. We make our confessions. Oh Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep your commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face, as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, to all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. As is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil has come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, in the Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thy anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, and thy people, and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not for thine own sake. O my Lord, for thy people need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, I'm going to read a psalm. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read Psalm 48. It's a psalm for sons of Korah. Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situations. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. God is known in his palaces, for a refuge. For lo, the kings were assembled. They passed by together. They saw it, and so they marveled. They were troubled and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them there, in pain, as of a woman in travail. Thou breakest the ships of Tarsus with an east wind. As we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever. Selah, we have thought, of thy loving kindness, O God, in the midst of thy temple. According to thy name, O God, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. Let Mount Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Judah be glad because of the judgment. Walk about Zion and go round about her. Tell the towers thereof. Mark ye well her bulwarks. Consider her palaces, that ye may tell it to the generations following. For this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide, even unto death. Okay, that was Psalms 48. God is our God. Any comments on that? Okay, I want to shine a light on verse 8. It says, we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts. City of the Lord of hosts. In the city of our God, God will establish it forever. Selah. So you say, why am I reading this? It says that verse 8, we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. So when you read that, it said the Lord of hosts is the God of in the city. He's the God that is established forever in Jerusalem, right? So if you go to Isaiah right quick, 44 and 6, we go here all the time, 44 and 6. Thus said the Lord, the King of Israel and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, I am the last. Besides me, there is no God. So that scripture 44 and 6 is telling you the Lord, Yahweh, is the King of Israel and his Redeemer. The Lord of hosts is the Redeemer in Israel. And then Psalms tells you 48, verse 7, verse 8, we have heard, we have seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever and ever. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our women's health.
Shalom, everyone. I'm going to talk about benefits of vitamin B for women. Do you know that there are vitamins which seem destined solely for female use? Those are the vitamins in Group B, each of which contributes to enhancing women's health, well being, and beauty. Vitamin B1 is very important for the nervous system since it contributes to maintaining the health of the nerves. Vitamin B2 is a valuable vitamin that helps maintain a healthy and beautiful skin. Vitamin B3, it is important for the female body thanks to the beneficial properties it possesses for blood circulation. Vitamin B5 is an excellent anti-stress substance. It's essential for the correct function of the um, you I don't know how to pronounce this word. I hope I pronounce it right. Adrenal glands. If you feel particularly tired, irritable, and stressed, it is very likely that you suffer from a lack of this vitamin. B5, among other things, can improve the health of your hair and hair loss. It keeps your skin healthy. It can also help fight constipation. Vitamin B6 is one of the vitamins in Group B which contributes greatly to the health of women during pregnancy. Okay. Vitamin B8 plays an important role for the health of the hair. The lack of it may result in the weakening of the scalp. Vitamin B9. This vitamin is valuable for improving the mood, maintaining flexibility of the skin, and fighting anemia. Vitamin B12 is proven beneficial for the prevention of anemia. It is also good for the fight against mental disorders such as depression, anxiety, and sorrow, playing an important role for the proper functioning of the nervous system. These vitamins can be found in fish, meat, especially beef, beans, bananas, cheese, whole wheat bread, eggs, milk, potatoes, spinach, carrots, and cucumbers. I'm going to read Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 through 31, the giving of food. Verse 29, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in thee, which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Verse 30, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Verse 31, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. That was Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 through 31, the giving of food, and that was covering vitamin B.
Okay. We appreciate that information. Okay. So with that being said, we want to move on to our current event. Right.
Has been in mourning since Thursday, September 8th, when Queen Elizabeth, the country's longest reigning monarch, passed away. At the age of 96, the Queen died at her Scottish home in Balmoral. Although the cause of her death has not yet been announced, another aspect of her will has been revealed. The British Irish Mirror newspaper published a report, in which it talked about the jewelry and possessions of the late Queen Elizabeth, and answered a question that was frequently repeated after her death: who will inherit it? According to the Sunday Times list of the UK's richest people, the Queen's net worth was £370 million in 2022. Although Queen Elizabeth was considered one of the richest women in the world, there is no requirement for her to disclose her private finances. The Queen received 15% of the profits from the Crown Estate's portfolio. It is a huge portfolio that includes some land and real estate belonging to the royal family. The Queen also had her own investments, including private art and stamp collections, racehorses, a portfolio of stocks, and the Sandringham and Balmoral estates. Much of her property is kept in a trust, rather than being part of the Queen's private collection. So her extensive collection of jewelry, including crown jewels, tiaras, and brooches, will remain in that box. The Queen also has a private collection of jewelry, which is likely to pass on to members of the Windsor family, starting with King Charles. King Charles will be given access to gems, whether those owned by trusts or the private collection. The Queen's private jewelry collection includes nearly 300 pieces, including 98 brooches, 40...
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, $118 for car insurance. That's how much I was paying. Okay, I picked up the car a few
necklaces, 34 pairs of earrings, 15 rings, and 14 watches. When not worn, it is kept in the Queen's Gallery at Buckingham Palace. According to the International Business Times, before her death Elizabeth requested a change of will, and Meghan Markle and her daughter Lilibet were excluded, as the mentioned jewels would be handed over to Kate Middleton and her daughter Charlotte. Consequently, Meghan and Lilibet will not be the beneficiaries of the jewels, which are valued at around $110 million. The late Queen's will is supposed to be kept secret, just as her husband Prince Philip's will. Despite this, the international press highlighted, first of all, her jewelry. Experts claim that such jewelry, like the Great Star of Africa, is very valuable. What will happen to the Queen's money and real estate? Most of Queen Elizabeth's fortunes will pass to her son, King Charles III, who will benefit from ownership of the crown. It is possible that the Queen left a will to choose how to divide her personal fortune. If she chooses to leave all her money to Charles, the latter will receive it, without having to pay the inheritance transfer tax. As for the properties in Balmoral in Scotland and Sandringham in Norfolk, which have been in the royal family's possession for decades, they are likely to have also passed to the new king. What will happen to the Queen's dogs? The British Queen owned about 30 corgis during her entire reign. Days after her death, the late Queen Elizabeth's dogs are set to pass to the Duke and Duchess of York, Andrew, and Sarah. Although there is no requirement for British monarchs to disclose their private financial resources, according to information published by the Sunday Times newspaper, according to Al Hurra Channel, Elizabeth's personal fortune amounted to £370 million in 2022, an increase of £5 million over the previous year. In terms of real property, the state owns Buckingham Palace, the royal residence in London, and Windsor Castle, located about 30 kilometers west of the capital. But Balmoral Palace, the royal family's summer resort, and Sandringham Palace, where the royal family traditionally celebrates the end of the year holidays, were owned by the Queen and will be passed on to Charles. The Queen also owns a large portfolio of stocks and a collection of royal stamps valued at about £100 million, according to the compilers of the 2021 Rich List in the Times newspaper. The late Queen's fortune will be added to Charles's personal fortune, which is estimated at $100 million, equivalent to about £87 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. The famous crown jewels, valued at around £3 billion, symbolically belong to the Queen and are therefore automatically passed on to her successor. Prince Philip, Elizabeth's husband, left a more modest inheritance of £30 million upon his death in April 2021, according to Celebrity Net Worth. He especially owned a collection of paintings and 3,000 works of art, most of which were bequeathed to friends and family. Duchy of Lancaster. With his accession to the British throne, King Charles III inherits the Duchy of Lancaster, which has been owned by the royal family since the Middle Ages and which during the tax year ended last March generated £24 million of private income earmarked for the British monarch. The Lancaster money belongs to the monarch, the king, or the queen, by virtue of his position, says David McClure, author of a book on royal finance. On the other hand, Charles loses the Duchy of Cornwall, which goes to the king's eldest son and generates around £21 million a year. McClure explains that this duchy belongs directly to Prince William. Charles also benefits from an annual grant called the Sovereign Grant from the public treasury, set at 15% of the proceeds of the inheritance of the crown, and includes especially real estate and also a huge wind farm, and its revenues have been poured into the public treasury since an Act of 1760. The sovereign
Okay, any comment? Okay. Yeah, I noticed that at the last minute she took Harry and Meghan out of the wheel. I think there's gonna be some stank about that. Okay.
Really hit a nerve this week about Harry should pulp this book. That now we've had this dramatic event, we've lost the Queen, his father is now king, and he made a statement saying it's time to honor my father, King Charles III. How is that compatible with a tell-all book, which will be presumably, as most of his outpourings have been about his father, very critical of the king?
Yes, I think they're not at all compatible. And I think this must in some ways be a very lonely time for Harry. By all accounts, on the day of the late Queen's death, He was having to arrange his own travel arrangements and was being reminded of the fact that had he been part of the family still, he'd have been, looked after by them, but he had to sort of go his own way because he said he'd go his own way. Now he's seeing some of the costs of that. One of the costs of it, I'm sure, is a certain coldness for members of the family. How could you not guard what you say when a family member has said so many things about the family and is wanting to say more? How could he or what expect to be treated entirely warmly? And they've already said so many untrue things about the royal family, so many hurtful things, and are promising more to come. Of course, he should pull the memoir. It's the decent thing to do. Made plenty of money from other deals, from Netflix, from Spotify and others. Doesn't need to release the memoir now.
I completely concur with that. But Paula, you think he should be able to publish the book?
Of course he should. Of course he
Why?
should. He should have the opportunity to have his say.
He hasn't stopped yapping for 2 years. Literally, he and his wife, barely a week goes by without them sticking a knife into the royal family and the monarchy. So what do you mean he's got to have his say? He doesn't stop having his say.
And we could say that about the press too, couldn't we? We could say that about the millions of stories that have been reported in the press about Twitter going wild. We know that reports have been done, haven't it?
But when you have two members of the royal family constantly publicly attacking the royal family and the monarchy, of course the media are going to respond. People say to me, when are you going to stop criticising Meghan Markle and Prince Harry? When they stop attacking the royal family is my answer.
Just even in the tone, it's very aggressive. They're attacking the royal family.
They are.
Is that the case,
or
is it the case that they are telling their truth, that they are finally getting an opportunity, to have their say?
There is no such thing as someone's individual truth. When Meghan Markle talks about my truth, it doesn't exist. There is the truth, which are facts, and there's everything else.
And the problem
you
with
don't have your own version of the truth.
The problem with that argument is that is exactly why they needed to have this book, because you will deny their truth, and you can't continue to do that.
Why should they be allowed to tell blatant lies about the royal family?
Well, because they don't believe they are telling blatant lies.
Let me give you an example.
And we don't know.
Meghan Markle told Oprah Winfrey that their son Archie was not going to be a prince because of his skin colour. That's what she inferred in that answer. Right?
So
now,
you're very careful there, Piers.
As you may now know.
You're very careful there, Piers. That is what she inferred.
Well,
it's not what she said, which is how you started this conversation. And this is why we need to be careful, because this is such an emotive topic during this, of course, exceptionally sad period of time where we know that they are a grieving family and we know that they have done their absolute best to show a united front.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about when this book lands. Tony, I think it's going to be like an unexploded bomb when this thing goes off. It's going to be something which has been ticking away. I know the palace are incredibly concerned. Much more so now Charles is king, because they also fear Harry might have a go at Camilla, who's now the queen consort of this country, and try and settle scores going back to his parents' marriage breaking up.
I do think there's the law of diminishing returns. I don't think anything will ever have the impact of that Oprah interview. I don't think anything will ever drop like that.
Because book from Harry?
Because it was so unchallenged. Oprah looked like the worst journalist in the world. Everything that was put out there was completely unchallenged, and I think people were shocked and hurt in this country, because I was among the crowds at Windsor the day they got married, and there was a genuine, real love and
there was no racism whatsoever towards Meghan Markle.
And the idea that
from the press in this country, none, nada, zero. I know what I read. I know what I wrote, for example.
You don't know what
this country embraced the whole thing.
You don't know what existed for her and what she is saying and what Harry is saying. Because I noticed that we're focusing on Meghan. But Harry is part of this as well. And what you are concerned about with this book is the truth.
No, I'm not. I'm concerned about their version
of
the truth, which is often completely untrue. Esther, here's my problem with it. If all they did was tell the truth, that's one thing. But 17 different statements from the Oprah interview alone were proven to be untrue. We still don't know who this supposed royal was who raised concern
which I have
about
a big
their
problem
child's
with,
skin
because
color.
I do wish that they actually said who it was, because I thought it was very immature for them to not know.
Smears them all.
I don't have a problem with Harry coming out with the book, actually. He's led quite an extraordinary life. No, 10 years in the army, you know, I don't have a problem with that. But I think, I suspect, with good reason, that it's not going to be tasteful, that it could be an attack on Camilla.
But surely he understands now
sort
that
of the fictional truth behind Meghan's, disastrous experience.
Well, let me ask. I'll tell you what. Let me ask Douglas Murray. Douglas, there's a kind of perception here that they're doing all this because it plays really well for them in America. But the New York Post cleared its front page for a very mocking image of Meghan Markle recently, looking like a toddler in a tiara, throwing tantrum after tantrum. What is the mood, you think, amongst the majority of Americans about what they've been doing?
Well, there's a deep skepticism about it. Some support, but also I think just a lot of embarrassment at it. A sort of embarrassment about the fact that Markle joined the royal family. There was, as several people already said, incredible goodwill towards her and towards the EU. I never saw anything in the British press that was even remote critical of Meghan herself. On the day itself of the wedding, would have been a happier day. The sight of Prince Charles walking his new daughter-in-law up the aisle, escorting her mother in St. George's Chapel. It was such a sign, as it was the photographs of the Queen meeting her first great-grandchild of Meghan and Harry. These were such healing things, and there was so much goodwill around the world. And I'm afraid that Meghan and Harry have, through their own actions, just thrown that goodwill away on both sides of the Atlantic.
And the trouble started, actually.
Okay, anybody have any comments on that?
I just think that this is going to be a big mess. You know, Harry and Meghan, are going to be excluded from a lot of stuff. So that is just expected. They never cared for her, and they didn't, agree with him, marrying her.
Right, and it's playing right in the hands of what I've been saying about this red-haired kid they got on that's going to be ruling at the end. But they got part of the plan. So you got all the reasons in the world. I mean, if you go back to Queen Elizabeth made a statement that family ascended from the pharaohs, which, when you understand, the 29th dynasty was Anglo-Saxons. 29th dynasty in Egypt, the last dynasty, Cleopatra, the Ptolemies were Europeans or Anglo-Saxon people of white folks. And so then we know that they also, the Edomites came in and usurped David's throne. So they, as far as they're concerned, and the people over in Israel, that's David's throne, right? And so you see what we went over and over again about this red-haired kid they got on the wall, spread all over the wall in the Denver Museum, and they got it on the murals on the wall in the Bank of America. And then now you see this. Now you go this boy, red-headed boy, at odds with the British Crown. He got every reason in the world to try to usurp it, because he got a problem with all of them. We just saw at the last minute, Queen Elizabeth took Meghan Markle and her daughter out of the picture. Okay, then if you're paying attention, when they was walking behind Queen Elizabeth at the funeral, he didn't even have his uniform on. William had his on, but I don't think he was allowed to wear his. So at every turn he getting humiliated. So I'm just showing you that to keep you abreast and keep your eyes on it. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. Go to a little need to know information.
Russia has just threatened World War III if Ukraine becomes part of NATO. Ukrainian President Zelensky has been trying to join the alliance for months now, but has not been accepted due to constant threats from Russia and Vladimir Putin. Zelensky is now trying to form an unofficial NATO-type alliance that would guarantee security from the United States and other allies, basically almost like a mini NATO through the protection of the United States using American tax dollars. But Russia's Kremlin quickly responded with dangerous threats. The Kremlin stated, if the agreement is enacted, it would be a prologue to World War III, and that a nuclear holocaust would likely follow. They said something about, you won't know what heat's like until you see cement melt. Now, that's a big threat that only involves nuclear warfare. And so things are definitely getting heated between Russia and the rest of NATO alliance members. Now, the entire war started because Putin has been telling NATO for years that he did not want Ukraine to join their alliance, as Ukraine right now acts as a buffer between Russia and Europe. But they didn't listen. And so they started saying things like, well, yes, we'll let you in and become a NATO member. And then Russia launched their special operation or war against Ukraine. And you know the rest, right? Now, as you know, Russia and China and Iran are meeting today in person along with other nations. This is the first in-person meeting between Russia and China. And it's already coming out that China is very concerned about this war with Ukraine. Now, the United States was specifically and purposely unincluded from this multi-nation meeting. However, something big is going on. 2 days ago, it came out that there was a last-minute secret emergency meeting called between the top 8 members of Congress and the head of the CIA, or Center for Intelligent, the Central Intelligence Association. Now, they met in a secure skiff in the basement of the U.S. Capitol, right? Like, I don't know what to make of this. A secret meeting between the head of the CIA and the 8 most important members of Congress. Now, this was urgent and it was secret, but we don't know what the meeting was about. My guess is it has something to do with Russia and China, but this was a secret meeting that just happened a couple of days ago. Now, in
Any comments on that? Got another point.
Is Europe on the brink? There's a lot of moving pieces today as it relates to the war in Ukraine, as it relates to Germany, Vladimir Putin, the nuclear power plant, and a leaked document from the Rand Corporation. All of this is creating like one big pumpkin spice latte of craziness. So first of all, we're watching Germany head towards collapse in real time on two different fronts, which we will get into. We have a leaked Rand Corporation report, which is stunning, points to total economic collapse for Germany and the EU if Russian gas doesn't flow. We also have a major update on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which has been under constant shelling by Ukrainian and NATO forces for the past few weeks. First, let's get to the power plant, where we have reports this afternoon that the largest buildup of Ukrainian forces to date is threatening the power plant, according to multiple reports. Now, accumulation of Ukrainian forces and equipment near the line of contact in Zaporizhzhia region, South Ukraine, is colossal right now. There's never been such a massive move of forces in this direction towards the power plant. What is the goal? What is the goal? To destroy the power plant? By all accounts, that's been what they've been trying to do by shelling it.
It's very confusing.
Dropping suicide drone strikes on the top of it, shelling it, using HIMARS weapons from America, the United States, to attack it. What is the goal? At the end of the day, it's the largest power plant in Europe. You're literally cutting off a massive amount of energy flow to Europe as a result of this. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, the strategy's lost on me.
So this is incredibly worrying. Why isn't Russia attacking these forces that are actually looking to harm the power plant? This is a good question, right? If they know they're coming here, why is Russia sitting back on this? Scott Ritter, the former UN weapons inspector, had these thoughts late this afternoon. He said, this is the sort of report that gives me concern. If it's true, then why in God's isn't Russia stacking aircraft overhead and destroying this buildup? I can guarantee you, if the United States detected a buildup like this, it would cease to exist. And that's true. The United States would rain missiles down on a location like this. Yeah. So,
and it would be justifiable, right? Because we don't need a nuclear fallout.
Right.
Nobody needs that. That's in nobody's interest.
So, of course, all of this is energy related. Again, we're talking about Gazprom. We're talking about the nuclear power plant. On September 2nd, Gazprom announced that the Nord Stream 1 pipeline that delivers the majority of Russian natural gas to Europe would remain shut, totally closed. Russia simply has had enough of EU countries funneling weapons and training into Ukraine. They've been training forces in England, in Germany, in Denmark, all over the place, in France. And so Germany, though, this over the past 24 hours may have finally crossed the red line. According to Moscow's ambassador in Berlin, said this on Monday, that Germany has crossed a red line with Russia by sending arms to Ukraine. The German ambassador has a message from Vladimir Putin and said this. This is Ambassador Sergei Nechayev. The very fact that the Ukrainian regime is being supplied with German-made lethal weapons, which are used not only against Russian military service members, but also the civilian population of Donbass, crosses the red line. Considering the moral and historic responsibility that Germany has before our people for the Nazi crimes, they have crossed the Rubicon.
Okay. Those are some scary words.
Well, he has a point. Something fundamental in Germany might be changing, right? A new Germany that's militarizing, right? They've, of course, funneled billions of dollars into building up their military. And so what is actually happening in Germany? Is this like a caged bear at this point? Well, today we have stunning leaked documents from the Rand Corporation, and it comes from a whistleblower who leaked these documents to John Mark Dougan. He was kind enough to publish the full damning report from the Rand Corporation. The leaked documents are only 4 pages long. So it's unclear how much of this report actually goes further than these 4 pages. Many people have wondered if Europe's self-inflicted economic crisis was all planned. Was it all done on purpose? Was it all part of a plan from the Rand Corporation, carried out by the CIA, carried out by the Biden administration? So let me just give credit here. This is John Mark Dougan. He got access to these documents from a whistleblower and then published them on his YouTube channel and linked through his Telegram as well. And I'll just show you what the report looks like from. And again, I'll link it up in the description if you guys want to go read it for yourselves. I encourage you all to read it. Again, 4 pages, and it starts with this page. I just want to show you why this front page of this executive summary is so important. Look at who this was distributed to. White House, right? White House, Department of State, CIA, NSA, and the Democratic National Committee. Okay.
Okay.
Not the RNC? What the
No,
hell?
yeah, they just must have skipped those guys. They just sent it to the DNC and the Biden administration. By the way, the date on this is January 25th. This is a confidential research report. It's been published now multiple times in multiple different places. But it goes through on the executive summary page, weakening Germany, strengthening the United States. And I kind of want to pull up what Red Pill News did a good job of really highlighting all of this. So let's just go through this because it's really striking. So the executive summary begins with the title, Weakening Germany, Strengthening the U.S., with the ultimate goal being the infusion of cash into the banking system by European and NATO-aligned nations, hopefully being able to avoid significant military and political costs in the process. Now, as Red Pill describes it, and as Rand sees it, the greatest obstacle to achieving the goal is the ever-growing independence of Germany. That problem seems to have been addressed with the war in Ukraine and the sanction on Russia, resulting in the killing of the Nord Stream pipeline and the cutoff of natural gas from Russia into Germany. That alone will undoubtedly lead to Germany requiring assistance from other European nations if they hope to save their citizens when the heat turns off. Control of Germany and their governmental decision-making process seems to be chief concern to the Rand Corporation, they say, which predicts that the destabilization of the United States would lead to a quickening of the independence of Germany and the inevitable end of U.S. influence. So what this document is saying, in essence, and there's multiple layers to this, what's the biggest threat to the United States is a stronger Europe, a stronger independent Germany, which sits in the middle of all of this. And the way to crush Europe, to destabilize Europe, is in effect to destabilize Germany.
To start there. And it further says that this need is precipitated by Brexit, because when the UK withdrew from EU structures, it says we, who is we, right? The Western powers have lost a meaningful opportunity to influence the negotiation of cross-governmental decisions. So since the UK is our, like, I don't know, like best bud that will do our bidding in the West, right? If the UK withdraws from Europe, we've lost our plant there, basically. Like, you know,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we've lost our insider,
right?
So, I mean, what's amazing is this paragraph stands out to me. And there's so many paragraphs. Again, this is only 4 pages. I wish I knew how many additional pages there were, and maybe we will see more of this. But right now we only have these 4 pages. But this paragraph stands out. The current German economic model is based on 2 pillars, the Rand piece writes. There are unlimited access to cheap Russian energy resources and to cheap French electric power. Thanks to the operation of nuclear power plants, the importance of the first factor is considerably higher, meaning cheap Russian gas is the entire German economy. Without it, you put it into a friggin' free fall.
Mm-hmm.
Halting Russian supplies will create a systemic crisis that would be devastating for the German economy and indirectly for the entire European Union. So Rand, they predicted all of this. And now Germany is in economic collapse. And according to Rand, this is exactly what the United States needs, is a weakened Europe. And we've seen now the euro fall below the dollar this week. So the euro has now.
Okay. Any comments on that? So the reason I'm playing that is I keep saying over and over again that all this stuff is playing, pre-playing because they're going somewhere. And I'm showing you how that those people over in Israel, we know they're not the real Israelites. And in Malachi, he told them that he ran them out, but they told the Lord of hosts that they're going to return. And they came back, they returned in 1948. But he said, even though they return, he's going to run them out. He's going to decimate them and run them out. So what you're looking at is these people behind the scenes, they want to rule the world for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. So they behind the scenes, these Illuminati bankers collapsing all this stuff. They want the document they just talking about, this REN document in January. Everything they're saying on the document is happening right now in real time. It's all plotted and planned out. These Edomite bankers. Okay. Okay, with that being said, I was going to open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any comments? Questions? Anything they want to talk about? Okay. Tie your shoes up on this one. I mean, you know.
Showing you, and I hope I'm not going to open a can of worms by this question. What do you see the Lord is showing you of what's going to be happening with the church and what's going to be happening in our nation?
The first thing, I want every believer to pray for October.
Okay.
The month of October will be a very strange month, especially for America, and the world will be shaken.
So this October?
This October. We need to sincerely and seriously pray. I haven't been given too much freedom to say about it, but it will be a thing that will shake our nation seriously. The second thing, God is drawing a line on this in the sand. God is going to make a big distinction between his anointed and those who are playing or pretending to be his anointed. Not because the level of persecution will increase, but there is a greater hunger for the word of God that is being released into the world. So many people will have so many questions. So many people will be suffering, and people will look for help. But only those who the finger of God is upon, those who have been anointed by God, will carry the next wave of the power of God in this nation. A lot of the men of God that were known, that played church, their congregation is about to drop, and they will go into small cities to seek the hand of God, because a hunger of the word of God is coming. And this is advice to men and women of God that are in church. Go back to your first love, or else God is going to take his sheep from you. Because God is in his heart, he is grieved because his sheep are being malnutritioned before his great coming. He wants to come and find a sheep, a flock that is perfect, and your duty is to perfect his body before he comes. But you have not fed them correctly. God will take those who are small and make them great, and the great are going to become small. It is a warning. Go back to seeking God. Go back to the place of fasting. Go back to the place of praying. Go back to the place of the hunger of God. Don't play church. Don't just do things because it's beautiful. I have a good congregation. I have beautiful people surrounding me. Look how big my church is. I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't care if there was 1,000 people or one person. My faithfulness in serving God has never changed. That is how God wants us to be. If anything, I am seeking how more I can serve God even great to outdo what I did in the past. The greatness.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Wow, that's something. I think it's already starting. You know what I'm saying? It's just really getting ready to hit the fan. I mean, we just have to really get prepared. I don't know about nobody else, but it's like you smell it, you feel it, all of that. It's getting ready to happen.
Right.
The beginning of the year, I mean, that to me, man, it's real.
Yeah. You
It's
notice that
real.
he never said, he never mentioned Jesus.
Yep.
You
He,
notice
he
that?
talked about his church, but he did not say
He never
JC
said
one
Jesus.
time.
He just saying God, God, God. He never
Right.
mentioned Jesus. Right. Okay. Okay. And like I said, they keep telling you over and over again on every news channel, this nightmare winter is coming. We already here. The last quarter, last 4 months of this year. We're looking at it. But a lot of people ain't getting it. Once I turning up the heat. Okay. So with that being said, nobody else have any comments on that. We're going to go into our Bible reading and breakdown. We're in 1 Kings, chapters 15 and 16. Okay. Okay. So, chapter 15 says the wicked reign of Abijah. Now, in the 18th year of the king Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, reigned Abijah over Judah. 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother name was Machah, daughter of Abishai, and he walked in all the sins of his father, which he had done before him, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord, his God, as the heart of David, his father. Nevertheless, for David's sake, did the Lord his God give him a lamp in Jerusalem to set up his son after him and to establish Jerusalem. Because David did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord and turned not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life, save only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. And there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life. Now, the rest of the acts of Abijah and all he did, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And there was a war between Abijah and Jeroboam. And Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David. And Asher, his son, reigned in his stead. And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Judah, reigned Asher over Judah. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Machah, the daughter of Abishai. Okay. And as did that, and Asher did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land, and removed all the idols that his father had made, and also Machah his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove, and Asher destroyed her idol and burned it by the brook of Kidron, right? But the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asher's heart was perfect with the Lord all his days, and he brought in things which his father had dedicated, and the things which himself had dedicated in the house of the Lord, silver and gold and vessels. Okay, Asher leagued with Ben-Hadad, and there was a war between Asher and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. And Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah, built Ramah, that he might not suffer any to go out or come into Asher, king of Judah. Then Asher took all the silver and gold that were left in the treasures of the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house, and delivered them into the hands of his servants. And King Asher sent them to Ben-Hadad, the son of Tobram, the son of Hisham, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, there is a league between me and thee, and between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent unto thee a present of silver and gold. Come and bring thy lead to Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me. So Ben-Hadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of the host, which he had against the cities of Israel, and smote Ijon and Dan and Abel Beth Mattah and all Cintero with all the land of Naphtali. And it came to pass when Baasha heard thereof that he left off building of Ramah and dwelt in Tarzah. Then King Asa made a proclamation throughout all Judah. None was exempt, and they took all the stones of Ramah and the timber thereof wherewith Baasha had built it, and the king Asa built with them Geba of Benjamin and Mizpah. The rest of all the acts of Asa and all his might and all that he did, and the cities which he built, are they not written in the books of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? Nevertheless, in the time of his old age, he was diseased in his feet. And Asa slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, his father, and Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his stead. The evil reign of Nebat, and Nebat the son of Jeroboam began to reign over Israel in the second year of Asa, king of Judah, and he reigned over Israel 2 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the ways of his father, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin. And Baasha the son of Abijah of the house of Issachar conspired against him, and Baasha smote him at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines, for Nebat and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon. Even in the third year of Asa, king of Judah, did Baasha slay him and reign in his stead. And it came to pass when he reigned that he smote all the house of Jeroboam. He left not to Jeroboam any that breathed, until he had destroyed him, according unto the sayings of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Abijah the Shunammite, because of the sins of Jeroboam which he sinned, and which he made Israel sin by his provocations, wherewith he provoked the Lord God of Israel to anger. Now the rest of the acts of Nebat and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? Okay. And there was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. In the third year of Asa, king of Judah, began Baasha the son of Ahud to reign over Israel in Tarzah 24 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin. Okay, well that was 1 Kings chapter 15. Anybody got any comments or questions about that? Okay, like I said before, just to keep everybody up to par, after Solomon, Israel was divided. The nation of Israel was divided. The 10 tribes went to Jeroboam, which was out of the tribe of Ephraim, which is one of David's sons, Joseph's sons. And then he kept Judah, Benjamin, Levi together for David's sake. So that's why you see 2 kings from the time when Solomon passed, and then Rehoboam and Jeroboam came on the scene. It's 2 kings ruling in the land of Israel. It's been divided. You got 2 kings. You got one over Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then you got another king ruling over the 10 tribes out of Ephraim. Okay, you have to understand that when you read this. Okay, so I'm in chapter 16, 1 Kings chapter 16. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, for as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the ways of Jeroboam, and hast made my people Israel to sin, and provoked me to anger with their sins. Behold, I will take away the prosperity of Baasha and the prosperity of his house, and I will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat. Him that dieth of Baasha in the city shall the dogs eat, and him that dieth in his in the field shall be fowls for the air to eat. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha and what he did and his might, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? For Baasha slept in with his fathers and was buried in Tarzah, and Elah his son reigned in his stead, and also by the hand of the prophet Jehu the son of Hannah came the word of the Lord against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of the Lord, in provoking him to anger with the works of his hands, and being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him. Okay? Then the reign of Elah and Zimah over Israel. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Elah, the son of Baasha, to reign over Israel in Tarzah 2 years. And his servant Zimah, captain of half his chariots, conspired against him as he was in Tarshish, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, steward of his house in Tarshish. And Zimah went in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead. And it came to pass when he began to reign, as soon as he sat on his throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha. He left him not one that pitched against the wall, neither of his kinfolk, nor of his friends. Thus did Zimah destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they sinned, and by which they made Israel to sin, in provoking the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Elah and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, did Zimah reigned 7 days in Tarshish, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. And the people that were, and the people that were encamped heard say, Zimah have conspired and have also slain the king. Wherefore all Israel made Omari, the captain of the host, king over Israel that day in the camp. And Omari went up from Gibeon, and all Israel went with him, and they besieged Tarzah. And it came to pass when Zimah saw that the city was taken, that he went in the palace of the king's house and burnt the king's house over him with fire and died. For his sins which he sinned in doing evil in the sight of the Lord, and walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in the sin which he did to make Israel to sin. Now the rest of the acts of Zemira and his treason that he wrought, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Omara reigned over Israel. Then were the people of Israel divided into 2 parts. Half of the people followed Tibnah, the son of Ginah, to make him king, and half followed Omara. Both the people that followed Omara prevailed against the people that followed Tibnah, the son of Ginah. So Tibnah died, and Omar reigned. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omari to reign over Israel 12 years. 6 years reigned he in Taza, and he bought the hills of Samaria of Shema for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shema, owner of the hill, Samaria. But Omar wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord and did worse than all that were before him. For he walked in all the ways of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he had made Israel to sin, to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanity. Now the rest of the acts of Omar, which he did, and his might that he showed, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? Then Ahab reigns over Israel. So Omar slept with his fathers and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead. And in 30 and 8th year of Asa, king of Judah, began to Ahab to reign to Ahab the son of Omar to reign over Israel, and Ahab the son of Omar reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab the son of Omar died, and did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, that he took his wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethabal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. Okay, and he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. In his days did Hiel the Bethelite build Jericho. He laid the foundation thereof in Hebron, his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof in his younger son Zigab, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Joshua the son of Nun. Okay, that was 1 Kings chapter 16. Anybody got any comments on that, or what they heard, or what I was read?
Yeah, all of them was wicked. I mean, one was doing just as bad as the other one. I mean, just one king after another.
Right.
Yeah, they was just wow. And then the when you was reading 16 in Zemariah's reign and death, right? He set the city on fire and burned himself up in the
king's house.
Right, in the king's. Okay.
Right. When you trace that, that's why it's so important to understand about even us as a today, from the intermingling. Everybody ain't no Israelite. So you see that a lot of them guys weren't even Israelites, because they had that one guy. He was a servant for Baasha. He killed him.
Yeah.
Being right in the stead. So then his son right after him. He ain't no Israelite. That's over in the 10. That's dealing with the 10 tribes. Not over in. Is a king in this place called Tirza. That's a city where the king lives for the 10 tribes. But you got Jerusalem, is where the seat of David is at.
Gotcha.
It's reigning over Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And you even saw, well, in chapter 15, that Baasha, the guy, he built a city in between Jerusalem and the southern kingdom and northern kingdom, to keep the people from the 10 tribes to going back to David's lineage. He built a city to keep them over there, so they wicked as hell. But like I was saying before, a lot of these people ain't Israelites.
And you notice when you're reading about them too, it always say that they did worse than all that were before them. Yeah, so it's like they all turned it up a notch when they became king. I noticed that is being said too.
Right.
And they did worse than all that were before them.
Right. It goes back to we go to Leviticus. Like for instance, he says when a man is found within Jerusalem, lying with another man, take both of them outside the city and kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, in order to root out evil out of the land of Israel. So you say, what are you talking about? When you do that, you cutting it off. So look at a prime example today in America. Look what homosexuality is now.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of cut it off way back, like the Most High said do, it wouldn't have multiplied.
Mm-hmm.
So it started with Jeroboam. He was wicked as hell. Well, the next one came wicked in him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The next one wicked in him. That's what that is. So you thinking about it today. Look at the world today. The evil is multiplied because it ain't been dealt with. It ain't been judged.
Mm.
From one generation to the next, they get wickeder and wickeder. Okay.
Yeah. And then Ahab, verse 33, and Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
Right. And then not only that, he went and got a wife from the Sidonians, which is from the giants and the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a double whammy.
Mm.
Okay. I wanted to shine light on something. Somebody can do the research on it. Maybe they can bring it up in the Q&A on the Sabbath. So we see right here that in 1 Kings chapter 15, notice that verse 1 says, now, in the 18th year of King Jeroboam, son of Nebat, began Abijah over Judah. 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother name was Micah, the daughter of Abishalom. It's not Absalom, but it looks like Absalom, but it's not. It's Abishalom. Anyway, notice his mother name is Macha, whatever it is. Well, you go to, that's Abijah's mother, right? And then you go to verse 9. In the 20th year of Jeroboam of Israel, in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asher over Judah. 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother named same lady. See that? You see that?
Yeah.
So, man, I'm saying something ain't right, because so we're saying that the boy slept with his own mom in order to get Asher, Bijam over Judah. I mean, verse 15:1. This guy Abijam over Judah. Judah said 3 years he reigned in Jerusalem, and his mother name was, see that? Mother name was. Then this boy up here, the next one, got the same mom. So did this dude sleep with his mama and got the boy? You see that?
I do.
Now watch this though. So you get on down and you see verse 20, right? So Benaiah hearkened unto King Asher and sent the captain of the host which he had against the cities of Israel, and smote these cities. It was in Jerusalem, Israel. Ajim, Dan, then look here, Abel, Bet. There go the lady name again. See that?
Mm.
Ain't that something? So it's something going on with that. Yeah. And it's something big too. And then even look at 13. He show up again in verse 13. And also, that's her right here. My child, his mother, even her, he removed from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asher destroyed her idol and burned it by fire. So this lady right here is doing the most. See that?
Yeah.
So, I noticed that when I was reading, the names are coming up. Is this one?
Hmm.
I guarantee you something major going on with that. And
Right.
that in itself tell you how they didn't overlay the scriptures and took the truth, the meaning out of it. You know. Okay, so nobody got anything else? Okay, I'm gonna say I'll see everybody tomorrow for Clubhouse on at 8 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna say shalom, and another shalom. See y'all tomorrow on Clubhouse.